was Hebrew. Okay, it was said amongst the Israelites at that time of the circumcision that it was better to eat pork than to speak Greek. All right, so that was looked down upon. Now the only language they spoke was Hebrew. All right, predominantly. So so where was that? Okay, yeah. Okay, so and how hear we every man in our own tongue wherein we were born. Parthians and Medes, right? Which those the Medes are the Japhites, right? Elamites and the dwellers of Mesopotamia and in Judea and Cappadocia and Pontus and Asia and Phrygia in Pamphylia, in Egypt, and in parts of Libya, about Cyrene, and strangers of Rome, Jews and proselytes, Cretes and Arabians, right? See, they're calling them Arabians, Cretes, all these different names, man. But they're all Israelites, man. Right? When you go back into it, it says what? At the beginning, it said devout Jews, which shows you that the Israelites were scattered all among all these different people. And they were being called Gentiles, man. That's where you get Gentiles from. Okay? Because we were always scattered, going back to the curses, talking about in Deuteronomy 28, man, the 64th chapter, 64th verse, excuse me. Okay? So the Israelites were scattered amongst all these different nations. And they were calling themselves that. Just like you call yourself a Canadian, right? You're not a Canadian. Where's your roots go back? You're not a Canadian. Okay? You call yourself an American. You're not an American, right? But if you grew up in China, you might call yourself Chinese. Right? So it's the same thing as that they were doing, man. They were calling themselves after the land that they were. Okay? It doesn't mean that was their actual nationality. I'm going to read that again. Acts 2. I'm going to start at verse 5 again. And there were dwelling at Jerusalem Jews, devout men, out of every nation under heaven. So they were Jews out of every nation under heaven, right? Which means they were Israelites, man. Okay? Because the Most High was never dealing with any other nation except for the nation of Israel, man. All right? And that's just the facts of the matter. So if you're not an Israelite through your forefathers, then there's no salvation for you. Okay? Let me get Romans the 9th chapter. This is Romans 9. This is Romans 9 verse... I'll start at verse 3. For I could wish that myself were accursed from Hamashiach, for my brethren, my kinsmen, according to the flesh, who are Israelites. Alright, so you wish you could have went on the cross for Yahushua, for his brethren, alright, for the Israelites. He didn't say for the whole world. Okay, he didn't say he wish you could go on there for Edomites and Ishmaelites. Alright, he said for his brethren who are Israelites. Alright? To whom pertaineth the adoption, the glory, and the covenants. Man, what's the adoption? The adoption is the Lord dying on the cross, man. He adopted the Israelites back to the Heavenly Father, man. Okay? Because without that sacrifice, the Most High wouldn't be dealing with us. Okay? Because we kept going off as a people. So now he's turning his back towards us. He's turning his face back towards us. Alright? Because the Israelites are coming back to him. Alright? We're calling on his name. We know that we're Israelites. Alright? We're starting to keep the law, statutes, and commandments. So he's turning back to us. Alright? And eventually he's going to completely destroy this kingdom and set up the Israelites in rulership. Alright? And we can see that happening now. And it said what? The covenants. What is the covenant? The covenant, first of all, the covenant is the kingdom of heaven. That's what the covenant is, man. What he made with Moses, he said, listen, if you do this, if you keep my law, statutes, and commandments, then I will put you above all these different nations. Okay? If you don't keep my covenant, if you don't keep my law, statutes, and commandments, I'm going to put these nations above you. Alright? You're going to be the lowest. That's what he said. Okay? So since we didn't keep his law, statutes, and commandments, here we are today. Alright? Simple as that. But that covenant still stands. Alright? So the Most High is still going to put us above all these different nations because that promise that he made to our forefather Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Okay? But he's going to do that through the remnant. There's going to be a remnant of us that are going to turn back and going to be delivered. All right? But the majority of our people are just going to get wiped out, man. Okay? Matter of fact, I'm going to get the covenants in a second. And the giving of the law and the service of the Most High and the promises. So the promises are also pertaining to the Israelites. All right? All right? The promise is the kingdom of heaven. That's the promise. All right? All those things that you read about in Deuteronomy 28, right? All those blessings, that's the promise, man. When you speak about the kingdom of heaven, that's the promise, man. And that's going to be on the planet Earth. Okay? So that's all pertaining, according to this verse in Romans the 9th chapter, it's pertaining all to the Israelites. Okay? So let me get the covenants in Hebrews the 8th chapter, man. Because like I said, man, the covenant is the kingdom of heaven, man. All right? This is Hebrews 8. Start at verse 7. Matter of fact, I'll start at verse 6. But now hath he obtained a more excellent, what's going on, bro? You alright? Yeah, man. But now hath he obtained a more excellent ministry, by how much also he is the mediator of a better covenant, which was established upon better promises. That's talking about Yahushua. Okay, he was established upon better promises. It was a better covenant. Okay, because the first covenant was written upon stone, and we had to keep it in this flesh. Okay, but the next covenant is going to be written in our hearts, man. But we're never going to be able to go off. Okay. For if that first covenant had been faultless, then should no place have been sought for the second. All right? For finding fault with them, finding fault with us, the Israelites, man. We're the ones who went off. We're the ones who sinned, not the laws. The laws are not the problem, man. Growing your beard is not the problem, man. Not eating certain foods that are bad for you in the first place is not the problem. All right? When that's proven to be the best diet to eat. That's not the problem. All right? The problem is that you went off. That you're doing the wickedness to yourself, really. All right? For finding fault with them, he saith, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, when I will make what?
My nigga, I love you, know that.
Go up the street, man. Go up the street, man. Go up the street, man. Right? The days come, saith the Lord, when I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah. All right, so he's going to make a new covenant with the Israelites. Right? All right, and what's that new covenant? And it says with the house of Israel and the house of Judah. It doesn't even mention no other nation. Okay, it doesn't mention the Ishmaelites. It doesn't mention the Edomites. It doesn't mention the Shaphites. Okay, it mentioned the Israelites. You know, it says Judah and the house of Israel. So it's only talking about the Israelites. Okay? Which shows you the Most High was never dealing with any other nation except for the nation of Israel. Okay? When you go into the covenant is basically the kingdom of heaven. That's how we get the kingdom of heaven. It's through that covenant. Right? Through being perfect. Because that's what he's gonna do with the Israelites, he's gonna make them perfect. Okay? Mad, Akim. Satan is mad, bro. Don't see down here to shit. Alright? Yeah, so what was that? Right, verse 9. Not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day when I took them out of the land, took them by the hand to lead them out of the land of Egypt, because they continued not in my covenant, All right, so the covenant, the first covenant, right, where we were supposed to keep the law, statutes, and commandments, all right, in this flesh, okay, that was the first covenant. We were supposed to keep it in this flesh. But we didn't do that. We were going off, okay? But the Most High knew we were going to go off because he set up the laws of sacrifice, man, and the atonement of sins. All right, that's what the priest was there for. And that's why the priest was constantly employed, man. The priest was never out of employment, okay? Because there was always sins being committed, man, amongst our people, right? Because we were in the flesh, okay? But let's get to the new covenant. So it says, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day when I took them by the hand to lead them out of the land of Egypt, because they continued not in my covenant, and I regarded them not, saith the Lord. For this is the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days. See, it says the house of Israel again. Okay? Saith the Lord. I will put my laws into their mind and write them in their hearts, and I will be to them a power, and they shall be to me a people. So that's the new covenant, man. That he will write it in our hearts. That means we'll never sin again, man. We'll be programmed, right, to never sin again. So it will just be like breathing. It'll be like the blood pumping, the heart, your heart pumping, right? You don't think about your heart pumping. It's just happens subconsciously. So that's how it's going to be with the law, statutes, and commandments when we get into the kingdom. We're going to be perfect, all right? We're never going to go off, all right? The Most High is going to make us where we never sin. We never go off naturally, man. We don't have to think about it. Okay, it's just gonna come to us, all right? And that's how we're going to obtain the kingdom of heaven, and that's how we're also going to live forever, all right? For this is, Salaki, let me get down to, what is that, 11? And they shall not teach every man his neighbor and every man his brother. So we're not going to do what we're doing now.